Yay! Okay, so we're here. Anaya.
Yes, hi.
Not Ania.
No.
Not Anya. So we were talking a little bit about social media and how people basically be friend on there. And so you were saying how you had deleted your Twitter.
Yeah.
Because you saw that somebody ended up being like a rapist.
Yeah.
And you were like, she was like, not Instagram, Twitter famous.
Mm-hmm.
And you said you felt like you were comparing yourself to her.
Oh, yeah. At that time, I was maybe like 16, 17, and I was just really like kind of insecure in myself. You know, I was still trying to figure out like who I wanted to be type of stuff. You know, I didn't really know I didn't really know who I was.
Right.
And, you know, I'm looking at all these people on Twitter, you know, living their best life and posting all these cool parties. And,
right.
You know, they all look so cool. And I'm just like, wow, like I want to be like them.
Right.
And then it comes out like you're a whole rapist, and like it all kind of flips. Like you think like, okay, shit's not so sweet. Like you gotta take into account that people do front. Like it's,
right.
You only post certain things on social media, the things you want people to see.
Exactly.
And, like, you can put a whole facade, and like, you know, it's just, it can be really misleading.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you try to compare yourself to people. So now I don't have Twitter anymore. I'm on Instagram, but
I know you like to take breaks.
Yeah, I have my whole phone actually set up like this, where there's like a timer on every single one of my apps. So I get 15 minutes, and then like it tells me like you're done, and then I can choose to, you know, go on for 15 minutes more. But most of the time I'm like, okay, I'm done. Like it's not that serious.
And that situation is what like caused you to like put that on there, or was it just in general?
I feel like it just compounded on a lot of things I was going through at the time, you know, because I think then I took a break from all social media for like maybe a year, and I was okay, I need to focus on me, getting me right, because they have nothing to do with me.
Yes.
You know, so.
Yes, it's interesting. Social media is weird. It's a trip. Like, I got banned from Twitter. People be wanting me to come back. I'd be like, no, I'm good on that. I'm not going back. I feel like, and even like, I'm still on Instagram, and I'm still on Tumblr. I'm still on Snapchat, but I like Snap because like everybody left. Like, people just like left Snapchat. So I just like post every now and then, and I just be posting like stuff that I would not post like anywhere else.
Right.
I'll put on Snapchat because I kind of feel like nobody's even gonna see it, except I have like real friends in real life and stuff that follow me on there. But social media is very weird because it is true. It's sort of like you see. For me, the weirdest part of social media is seeing people that I know in real life, and then like sort of seeing who they are on social media, or, you know, like this facade, or like whatever. And it's funny because like I'll meet people in real life that have only like watched me on YouTube or like followed me on social media. The first thing they always say to me is, oh my gosh, you're so tall. First thing. But the second thing a lot of people say to me is like, wow, you're just like how you are like on your videos. And I just be like, this is because that's just how I am. Like, I'm not like, I don't have like an internet persona, I guess is what you would call it. And so it's very interesting to me to see people that sort of put on an internet persona. With people you know in real life, it's like super weird. But even with people you don't know in real life, and then it sort of comes out that, like you said, like, shit ain't sweet, or that they got a whole double life, like some whole shit that you like never even heard of. And we were talking about how like I'm on Tumblr, and I seen a girl that was like, she posted the screenshot of her followers and was like, I have over 100,000 followers, and I'm trying to like raise money to get somewhere, and I like can't get any like money. If all my followers only gave $1, I'd have like so much money. And it's true. It's on the one hand, it's like these people do follow you, so you would maybe think that like they would support you, but then it's like on the other hand, it's like you got all these followers and stuff, but you don't have like a pot to piss in real life. That's not translating into anything tangible. And like I was saying earlier, not necessarily like money, monetary even, but like what is that translating into that's real? Like what is real? Like what is reality?
And then the followers aren't getting anything either. Like they're just
following
like, the
you.
least you can do if you want to get some money is like give something back. You know, like at least for me, like building my following on social media slowly, but on purpose, because I gotta figure me out still. You know, and but like I plan, like when I get to, you know, to the level that I want to, I'm gonna sell my art, you know, and at least they're getting something, you know. If you're just saying like, oh, I want to go this, that, and third, they're not. I just want to go somewhere. Yeah, they're not getting anything. Like at least you could provide some value to them rather than.
I've seen some critiques of this I don't know what you would call it, like crowdfunding culture. I've seen some critiques of crowdfunding culture where I've seen some people say that they feel like it's making people lazy. That they were like, oh, instead of having the sort of hustle spirit or entrepreneur spirit or the go out and get a motherfucking job spirit, it's people that would just be like, I need money, like, can you guys cash at me? Like, this is my cash app, or like, this is my this is my that. And like, I think that's a kind of interesting critique. It's hard for me because like on the one hand, I feel like you have so many, especially like black creatives, especially like young black creatives that are sort of creating like alternative avenues into art spaces and into being like a career artist. And so and I feel like black artists and black creatives like should be compensated for their work. Like I absolutely feel like people should be compensated for their work. And it is like we are living in this kind of like time right now where it's like Cash App is a thing. You could just like Venmo is a thing. Like you could just send me the money really quick. But I do also kind of understand, like I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I'm like scrolling through Instagram or Tumblr and I see people that just be like, oh, just Cash App me $5, just like on something just because. It's like, and if somebody wants to give you that money, that's fine. I've given people money. I've seen people make posts that was like, I can't pay my rent, or I can't pay my light bill, or like I'm hungry, I'm struggling, I'm going through a hard time, like can somebody help? And I've like have given people money. But I do think there's something sort of interesting about like I guess like the crowdfunding culture, the culture of like, well, I want to go somewhere, you know, I want to go to Comic-Con, I don't have the money for it, so y'all give me the money for it. Not just like, oh, I guess I just can't go this year, so I need to just like stack my money and like get myself together. I think maybe that's like part of the instant gratification type of culture that we live in right now. I don't know, it's a weird thing. You're a little bit younger.
Yes, I'm 19.
You're 19. So being a little bit like younger, how are you like sort of navigating? Because I don't know. You're a little bit younger than I am. Like I was, the last interview we did was with Kenyatta. Shout outs to Kenyatta, and we were talking about sort of. You're not a millennial, are you? Are you Gen Z? Yeah. We were sort of talking about, and you just made it too.
Yeah.
You like just made Gen Z. You would have been like a younger millennial. So we were talking about how like, cause she's a millennial, I'm a millennial, and how we sort of grew up with like one foot in the door of like analog and digital, but how like the generation after us is sort of coming up in this purely digital culture. Like how?
It's funny because like I am young, but my parents are a little bit older than average, so I kind of grew up like that too. Like I think until like maybe like 2009, 2010, we still had dial-up. Like we didn't get like a camcorder until maybe 2008. We still had the VHS. So like I did experience, you know, the kind of one foot in, one foot out too. But yeah, I don't know. What was the question again?
I said, what is that like? The digital culture for, because you're a teenager still.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm still trying to figure it out myself. So I don't really have a solid answer.
Yeah, it's fine.
Because like I said, like I try to stay away from it until I am like 100% solid. This is who I am. Like I'm still.
Do you feel like that's unusual that you're trying to like stay away from it? Is that like usual for your peers?
I feel like it depends on the person.
On the person?
It depends on the person because some people enjoy that, like putting themselves out there like that and, you know, showing people their lives and their day to day. Me, I'm a hermit. Like that's just not my personality. So it's harder for me to be like, when I'm in my room, not like on my computer working, like it wouldn't really work for me. So I feel like it's just depending on the person, like what they're like, and if they're, you know, a little bit more extroverted, a little bit more open to sharing certain things about their lives, or they want to put on a front because that's what most people do.
Yeah. I'm super paranoid about like privacy. I'm like OCD about it. And I kind of feel like right now we're in this, I don't want to say we're in a space where I feel like it's almost, like, I feel like privacy is like discouraged. It's like, share everything. There's this movie, the movie was like really bad, but it's based on a book, and I kind of want to read the book because I'm sure the book is better. The movie is called The Circle. It had Emma Watson, and it had like Tom Hanks, and part of the plot was that they made this social network, which is obviously sort of based off of Facebook, and it was called The Circle. And, you know, the tagline was like, you know, like, be in the circle, you know, whatever. And the whole concept revolved around transparency, like what they called transparency. And like ultimately they were like building all these like tools and working their way towards what they called like total transparency, which is like they like made these little like pin things that had these little like cameras on them, and it was supposed to be that like you had the pin on you like at all times. So it was
like
sort
a
of
Black
like
Mirror episode,
yes,
kind of?
sort of, yeah. So like you were like transmitting like at all times. And so Emma Watson plays this girl that starts working for the company, and she sort of like agrees to kind of be like, she's trying to like move up in the ranks, and she sort of agrees to become like a test subject for this like total transparency concept. And it's interesting because, so she's being encouraged to like, because it's like, we're all friends, we want to share our lives, we want to share what we're doing, we want to share everything. But like in the real world, it was causing all these problems because like her father was sick. I think he had like multiple sclerosis or something like that. And so she has this camera on at all times, and so she's constantly transmitting things that are private. Like she was at like a barbecue at her house or something, and her dad like fell and like, you know, couldn't, like she left. He fell and he couldn't get up. Falling and he can't get up. Her dad like fell, and that was like transmitted like live to like everybody, and her parents were so embarrassed, right? Or like there was like another one where she like walked in on her parents and they were like having sex, and like that got transmitted, and some other stuff ended up happening with like one of her best friends because he was making these like wall decorations out of like antlers, and she like transmitted those, and then people were like, oh my god, are those made out of like real deer? Is he like a deer killer? Like, and so it was interesting because it revolved around this idea of like this share culture where we just share everything, overshare. But how in real life, with like the people that were closest to her in real life, it sort of like pushed them away and made them not want to share shit with her because she's like publicly broadcasting like everything. And I feel like we've gotten to this point of like people just broadcasting everything and feeling like there's nothing wrong with it. Like if I'm scrolling through Instagram, I don't need to see like your newborn baby like still like covered in placenta, which is something I've literally seen, like my new baby. Like
I saw somebody's like aborted fetus, and I'm like, why? Like
why?
It was like a spam account, and I'm like, y'all do too much.
Too much. I used to follow this like chef or butcher meat person, and I don't even eat like meat. I'm pescatarian, but I still follow a lot of food accounts. I like food. I find it interesting. And he posted, I will never forget, he posted like a cut in half like pig. I don't know if you've ever seen, like, you know, in horror movies where they have like the pigs like hanging in the saw, like cuts them in half. But it was just like the picture of like the two, and it was just like
traumatizing. Like, you can get traumatized so easily on the internet. Like I saw one, and it'd be these spam accounts I'd be following. They had posted a picture of like somebody's head that was bashed in. I was like, what the fuck?
Why?
How can you stomach to see it? And like me, like I am so squeamish when it comes to that thing. Like I do not do like intense like gore, like hospital stuff. Like I cannot do that. So seeing that, like that made me stay up like on, like I know it freaks me out. Like that's
like,
why I stay off the internet.
Every time you close your eyes, he was like seeing it.
Literally, like somebody's head bashed in. Like that's sad. Like that's somebody who's dead. Like why share that?
That's like the attention economy, which I've also been thinking about a lot. Which is that like we barter and trade in attention, right? That like that's what the attention economy is, and like ultimately the goal is to like get enough attention that you can ultimately like turn it into something tangible, like, you know, trying to build a brand, build a following, so that when you sell your art you have the following, whatever. And so it kind of like encourages, and then you it's like dumb as fuck shit. And then you even have like directly monetized platforms like YouTube, where it's like the attention, the clicks literally are money, literally like that's money in your account, which is how you end up with like Logan Paul and like his brother Jake, who are literally posting like videos of dead bodies. Like they go into like a quote unquote suicide forest and they're like videoing it and they're putting up images of dead bodies.
Knowing what they're doing.
Knowing what they're doing. Like oh my God, it's a dead body. Like totally removed from the fact that like that was somebody's family member. Like that was a person that like killed themselves, which is like traumatic enough. Like in and of itself, like they killed themselves. They took their own life. Which like it takes a lot to get a person to that level, and then you're like literally using that for some attention, for some clicks, to get some money in your pocket, because like this attention economy just says like look at me. Like they were talking about this dude that like got these twins pregnant.
Oh yeah, I just
like
see that.
It was like last month, like a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And I remember like somebody had sent it to me. Number one, ew. Like what the hell? That's disgusting.
What y'all doing?
What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? So just like gross. And number two, I remember like something that he said, like how he even got famous off it, was that he had made a post about it on Instagram, and like the caption has said something like, oh, like what nigga you know got like baby mamas that are twins, they need to give me a reality show. And it got like picked up by the Shade Room, of course.
I thought you were gonna see TLC.
Well, now they're getting a reality show. Now they are going to get a show. So I'm sure it's either going to be on TLC or VH1. What's another one that does them type of shows?
MTV.
Or MTV. TLC likes the family ones, the weird family ones, though. So it might be on TLC, but they're black, so it might be on VH1, because like that's where like Mona likes to put like the black people. But it was just like, you knew full well, and I had said to some people that I know, I was like, he probably, not to sound like diabolical, but I was like, this, for all we know, he probably did this on purpose. Like this probably really was part of like a master plan of like,
course, people are so smart. Like
I'm gonna get both these bitches pregnant, and then I'm gonna like get a reality show, and I'm gonna get famous, I'm gonna get some money, he might like launch a rap career. Like this would be part of like larger like stuff
people
that's going on.
Dumb.
Yeah,
like,
to get attention.
They don't know what they're doing when they know exactly what they're doing.
They know exactly what they're doing.
Like me and my friends, we even like halfway joke, halfway we're serious about doing something similar. Like we were like, let's go on Maury, like let's act the fool on Maury, just like mainly for the fun of it, but like, you know, because I think she said some other girls did it where they I think it was on Catfish, where they like pretended to like be catfishes, but in reality like they were together already and they wanted to meet up because they were long distance. So, you know, stuff like that where you can kind of like chessboard it a little
set
bit,
up,
you know. And yeah, people know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing.
I feel like the precursor to social media and the way that people are doing it now, though, it was like Maury, Jerry Springer, reality shows of like, I'm gonna go the Bad Girls Club, which I used to watch. I used to watch all those reality shows. Like I used to watch all of them because I really thought that they were like so entertaining. But I even feel like back then there wasn't as much like calculation as there is now. Like I feel like a lot of the early shows, like people weren't really trying to be famous per se, because like you wasn't really getting super famous off reality
and, like, you
shows.
Can't really track it. Like the people who know you know that's you, but like everybody else they
doesn't know.
But
like I don't know where
on my t-shirt.
I don't know where that sort of changed. Maybe with Bad Girls Club or maybe with Love and Hip Hop. Because like who can name somebody from like the original like Real World and stuff? Like you can't. Like the early reality shows,
unless they was on the challenge,
maybe like the Real World versus Real Rules challenge or something like that. But All Stars, you know, something. But like outside of that, like who can name people that were on like the early shows? Nobody. Because like people weren't really getting like famous. And then there was, maybe it just was the introduction of social media, because like then it was like a switch where it's just like, oh, not only can I like, because like I watched Flavor of Love, for example, and like it's true, everybody always like New York, which is why she even got her own spinoff, like I Love New York, and like New York Looking for Love, and like that's when you got like Real and Chance, like rest in peace, because like Real I think died, like one of them died. But it was sort of like it was just like you could watch the show, you could like the person, and that's it. Now it's like you can watch the show, you can like the person, you can follow them on Instagram, you can follow them on Twitter, you can follow them on Tumblr, you can watch their YouTube channel. Like you can literally like turn them just by you liking them into like a brand. You know, if they say, oh, buy this Fashion Nova outfit, you'll buy it, you know, like just from them And a part of me is not mad at that. It's like horrible.
Like, you gotta play the game in a sense.
Yeah, like a part of me isn't mad at that because it's like, if people like you,
right,
and they like your, like, it's some girls that I follow on Instagram that they don't really have no talent or nothing, but they just seem like friendly girls. They're funny. They have like good sense of humor,
right,
nice personality. Maybe I like the way they dress. I like their style. So if they wear something that I really like, I might like go look up the brand and see what it is. That's like the brand ambassador influencer thing. So it's a part of me that's like, I mean, that's like a hustle in a way, and I'm not like super mad at that. But then it's like some people that's just like really not talented that are just now famous, and you're just like, but why? It's like, why are you fucking famous? Like, why am I looking at you all day? You don't do anything. Like, you don't do anything. And I do kind of feel like on that side of it, it's like a spit in the face to people that do have talent and that are like trying and can't get put on. I don't know, celebrity's like really fickle and weird, and it always has been, but like even more so in like the social media, because you can just turn anything into fame.
Like, my favorite kind of like, why are you famous but I enjoy you, is like the Billy Gotti account.
Oh, I don't know that
the
one.
Goat.
The goat that they dress up in clothes. Yes.
I love them.
That's what it's called?
Yeah, he's Billy Gotti.
I've only seen like reposts and like seen it around. Yes, they dress him up in clothes and he wears sunglasses and stuff.
Like, I follow them on Instagram, they be going live, watching their lives, because they like join in on people's lives, and I be trying to get in there. I've never gotten in, but
is he like their pet?
She calls him her son, but yeah, pet.
How do they own a goat?
Country.
Oh, they live in the country.
Yeah, they just country.
Oh.
And that's another thing that I love. Like, it's rare to see a country ghetto ass person with a big platform that they're in control of and they're not
being made fun of.
Yeah, exactly. So that's something I really enjoy. Like, just seeing her live her life. Do you with your goat? Like,
yeah, it's like some stuff you like.
Yeah.
It's like some stuff. And I kind of feel like in the beginning, like, this is why so many people, for example, were rooting for, like, Cardi. Because it was just, like, you just, like, being yourself.
Right.
You have your personality. Like, you ghetto as fuck. Like, you're not bothering anybody. You're not hurting anybody. I do think she ended up started, like, feeling herself, like, smelling her own hype. And now she's just miserable. She's insufferable. But it's true that, like, I do like seeing, like again, like, country as fuck people, ghetto as fuck people that, you're right, ordinarily would not have a platform. Become able to like build up this platform. It is cool, and it is nice that they can, like, if they can stay in control of it and sort of make money off of it.
Yeah, they do like mall shows and like everything. Like, they have events for Billy. I love Billy so much.
When you said he was a goat, I was like, oh yeah, the goat that wears clothes.
Yes.
I'm old. See, this is like me being old. Like, oh, the goat that wears clothes. Right, I've seen him. It's funny. I mean, that was like a good idea. And like the goat, it's weird to say, but the goat like does have like a little personality.
Yeah, like, it's so funny because like one time, I think like the main one, when she was talking about she was gonna whoop him, like, he had an attitude and like he was like turning his head down and like looking all sideways and stuff. She's like, I'm whoop you, and then he like got correct again. You know, it's like, it's funny, like, and it's really genuine too. You know, it's not somebody who's like putting on this fake little accent. Like, she's.
So do you feel like you could tell the difference between people that are authentic and people that are putting on a front?
I mean, like, if you compare Billy Gotti's mama and like Vicky, like, yeah, you could tell. But I don't know, like, bullshit always comes to the surface, so if it is fake, people will find out eventually.
Yeah. I've been asking people, I asked this to Kenyatta too, this is like my new thing that I'm asking, we'll see how it goes. What do you think that like the culture, for example, is here, and do you think that somebody would be able to like fake that? What do you think that it is? I'm just asking, curious.
I mean, since I'm kind of removed from Chicago, I don't want to say like something like too specific because like I'm not out there, me personally. So I mean, if you try to do like Chief Keef times 2, like, you know, try to play up that kind of stereotype, or
there's a lot of stereotypes I feel about Chicago,
or like the one, like, because we have like a reputation for like having a lot of violence and everything, but one that's every major city, like, don't get it twisted, there's like 2 million people in Chicago,
right?
It evens out if you think about it.
Right.
and it's unfortunate, but people who like claim like they're shooters, this, that, and another thing, but they're not, they're living in the suburbs like me,
right?
Then it's kind of like, okay, you can sit down.
You can sit down.
Yeah.
What do you think, how do you feel about that? Like people that live in the suburbs or they live wherever, but they like to sort of claim, it doesn't even have to be necessarily specific to Chicago. It can be, because like you probably like know that. I don't know if you know anybody personally that does that or acts like that, but what do you think about that, people that do that?
I mean, it's, at least for Chicago, like it's an easy, like, okay, what street do you live on? Like, what neighborhood are you from? Like, that's a quick way to like cut you down. Like, okay, no, you're not from Chicago, you're from Naperville. Like, don't get it twisted. But I don't know, I just feel like, what for? You know, like me like I don't have Chicago like in my bio because I just don't feel comfortable saying that I'm from Chicago, because I am not. Like, if you ask me something that's very specific to the city, I might not know, you know, and I'm not going to pretend like I do know just because like Chicago, like it's not that serious to me. So I mean, if that's what you want to do, then I guess, but like, don't get mad if somebody tries to come at you for it or try to ask you questions about like, you know, your neighborhood or this, that, and the third, because you know,
when you say what for, I think it's because it's like clout chasing, like clout chasing, more attention type. Like, it makes me think of ATL, the movie ATL.
Yeah.
How like Nunu like wanted to be down like so bad, and it was just like almost like you didn't have to be down. Like, we was just talking about this, because I was like, man, because like Rashad was driving this like little small ass Monte Carlo, and it used to be like Rashad, all his friends, his brother, and Nunu. They was like all crammed in there. He said it was like a Negro clown car. And I was like, damn, meanwhile, Nunu had the BMW, the sedan, like not even the coupe. Like, she had the sedan at home. Like, they could have been they could have been riding around nice, living lavish. Like, they could have been hanging out at her nice-ass house, her nice-ass mansion. Like, so it's just like, you want to be down, but like, they already liked you. Like, they already liked you for who you were. Because like, her and Rashad, even at the end, like, even still kept on dating or whatever. So it's just like, they liked you for who you were. Why do you want to be down so bad? And like, so often I feel like with Black Americans especially, being down is like equated to like being from the city or being ghetto or being like quote unquote urban. That's like equated with being real or being down or like being authentic, when like being real and being down and being authentic should just mean like being yourself. Right. So like, even if that means that you from the suburbs, like be yourself, like from the suburbs. Like, you don't have to like front like as if you from somewhere else. And I just find that to be like really weird when people do that shit, because again, like 9 times out of 10, at a certain point you are gonna come across, you're gonna get outed. Like, somebody's gonna find out. Are you gonna come across somebody that's like actually from that place that you're trying to like front like you're from? They're gonna be like, okay, well, what school did you go to? Exactly. What street were you from? And you're gonna be like asked like, out. Yeah. So why
save yourself the embarrassment? Just be straight up.
And like, just be straight up. Be yourself. Be real. I do think there's just like some weird stuff about like money and branding, and you know, it's kind of like if you can get the sort of brands just right in terms of like, I'm from the city, I'm from the ghetto, I'm hood, I'm this, I'm that. You could like monetize that into something, because people like that. Like, people want to people want to feel, they want to feel like, oh, that they down, that they like living vicariously through you. Right. So they feel like, oh, you down, oh, you from the hood, you from the city. I'm not, but I think that's cool. I think that's what is cool. That's what it is to be cool, or that's what it is to be a Black American, or that's what it is to be like all these things. So they feel like they could live vicariously like through you. And then I also think it's people that have like realized that they can like make money off that. Right. So it's almost like a mutual, some mutual fake, fake shit.
And like me, I was kind of like on that track too. Like maybe, I don't know, maybe like a month ago I decided, okay, so for the past year, like this 2019, I've been trying to move to the city because I just felt like I'm missing out, like I need to be out there, this, that, and the third. But in reality, like, girl, you're broke, you have no money. Like, when you sign a lease, that shit is real. Like, you have to pay, or your credit's gonna get fucked up,
or you're gonna get evicted.
Yeah, like, no, like, you your parents are not kicking you out. Like, yeah, you may be annoyed, you may want more space, but you just have to be comfortable with where you are.
Right.
And making it work. Because I felt like I was just kind of like, once I get to the city, I'll be happy. Once I do this, I'll be happy. But you have, like I said before, like, you have to be within yourself happy first, and then expound upon that, then do what you want to do. And that's something I literally just came to the realization of maybe like a month ago. I told my friend, because we were like all set to move, like we bought a couch and everything. We were like, we're gonna move, we don't care if we're struggling, like we're just gonna do it. Because I don't know, everybody loves like a come up story,
right.
And I feel like I shouldn't feel my come up is any less, because I'm just in my bedroom broke as shit, still doing me, but that's my come up, you know, and I should be proud of that within me, rather than, you know, adding all these problems that I don't need, you know. So I just feel like you just have to be really secure within yourself.
What was it like growing up in the suburbs? Well, that'll be a two-part question, I guess. What was it like growing up in the suburbs, and what was it like growing up in the suburbs that like made you feel like if you were in the city it would be better?
The amount of black people, to be honest, because from ages 2 to 8, I went to a Christian school, and that was like all white people. Like there was maybe me, one other black kid, and a mixed girl, the only black kids in the entire grade. And like I didn't know what racism was at that young age, but I felt it. And like at 3rd grade, I was like, I gotta get out of there. Like, you have to take me out of the school. I don't like it. And I said it was because they had too many rules, but really it was because they were just hounding on me. You know, like, out of all my friends, I would be the only one to get in trouble. If I did well on a test, coming to the hallway, are you cheating? Like, shit like that. And I was like, I have to get out of here. And then when I got to public school, I was like, I'm home.
Right.
Like, I have all these black kids around me, and it's just wonderful. And just here, and like, there's not really much to do here in Aurora. Like, it's dry, point blank period. So just seeing, because I follow a lot of people from Chicago, so just seeing all the fun that they're having, and, you know, all the parties and all the events and stuff, I'm just like, I need to be out there, I need to be with them, I need to be with my people, da-da-da-da. But it's like, well, first of all, you're 19, and the vast majority of these events are 21 and up, so you couldn't get in anyway.
You couldn't get in
anyway. I had to
anyway.
check myself. I was like, look, girl, what are you doing? Like, you need to chill and get right with yourself and get your money up so you can live the life you want to live. And like, I equated it to like, I wanted to be out there so I could like really work on my art, but at the same time, if you're focused on getting that rent money together, you don't have time to focus on your art. So you might as well sit your ass down, focus while you have somewhere free to live, and then do you when the time is right. So yeah, that's the only main thing about the suburbs. Like, you really feel cut off from, I guess, the party scene,
what's going on, what's happening. But it's true too that, like, getting back to what we were talking about before with the social media, is that like you still only seeing like the best parts of even those people's lives. Because like when those people are not partying and not posting, for all you know, they might be sitting at home like, God, I can't wait to get out of Chicago.
Right. Like, and I see a lot of people saying
I love
that.
Chicago,
I do see people saying that. Like this one girl I follow just recently moved out from Chicago. She was like, I ain't never going back. Like that. And that's from people who probably lived there their whole lives, and like they don't see the hype around it because that's their home. You know what I mean? Like, it's not foreign to them. It's not new and shiny to them. But I do love Chicago, though. I do want to move.
I do too. My grandma lives there. She's lived there for so long now. Like, she's been there at least 10 years now. So I love Chicago. I think Chicago is like really, really a cool place. And I do like that, like, there's a lot of black people. And it's funny that you said what you said about school too, because I feel like parents, and I'm not a parent, I don't know. I'm not going to say that I'm not going to be this type of parent, but I feel like a lot of the time with parents, well, black parents, it's like extremely difficult. I know that it's difficult for them, because it's kind of like, on the one hand, you feel like you want your child to have like whatever you think is like best for them, like what you think is best. So it's like, oh, I want to like, a
private school.
Yeah, like what's called the best school. So I'm like looking around, I'm Googling, I'm doing my research, you know, I want to put my kids in like what I think is like going to be the best. But like 9 times out of 10, because we do have all this like racist infrastructure, it's like what ends up being the best, and not by coincidence, like through budget and funding and like all these things, like what ends up being the best is best in quotations is like the white school. And so then it's kind of like, okay, now you're kind of like weighing the academics versus sort of like the cultural, the isolation aspect of it. I have a friend that lives in Atlanta that has a kid. Her son is like young. He's like still a toddler, but my friend and her boyfriend, they want to buy a house, and where they buy the house is where they want to like be for a while at least, you know. So they're already, which being a parent is just like, wow, being like a black parent, like
there's a lot to think about.
It's a lot to think about. Like, so, and my friend and her boyfriend are both black Americans. They are looking at houses, and so since they have a child, they're looking at school districts, but they do not want to put their son in a white school district. Like, they refuse. Now, he's not even going to be going to school for like years and years down the line, but
they're already thinking about
it. And so they're like, well, we don't want to buy a house, even though they have like a realtor and everything. And like, the realtor keeps showing them like houses and like certain types of neighborhoods, nice neighborhoods, good school districts. And the neighborhoods be white and the school districts be white, and they be like, well, but we don't want our child growing up in a white neighborhood and going to school around white people, because we just feel like it's going to be harder for him in the long run, even if that's like his academics are like quote unquote on point. But even then, it's like they put you in a school for the academics to excel, but then you do well and they question if you're doing well, they question if you're cheating, you know. It's like such a lose-lose situation.
And this stays with you. Like, I didn't really like unlearn all of that anti-black, because like I used to be so like, I just filled with self-hate because of, you know, I spent most of my formative years like
really
wow, a lot of self-hate, and it didn't really switch for me. And then on top of that, I went to, you know, the elementary school that had you know, a lot of black folks between 4th and 5th grade, but then when I went to middle school, I was in like the ET program, which is like the higher learning program, and I was with the same like 30 kids for the whole thing, so I was still around a lot of white kids. And so it wasn't until I got to high school, because I went to, you know, West Aurora, which was 4,000 students or so, and just everybody you can ever imagine goes to that school. So it wasn't until then where I really started to like unlearn the anti-black racism that I just was just so ingrained in me.
What was like the start of that for you, the start of the unlearning? Was there anything that like stands out in particular?
The Ferguson shooting, Mike Brown's death. Yeah, that was really impactful for me. Like, from then till I think when Trump got elected, that's when I was really like, okay, like, rah rah, I'm black and I'm proud, da 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 da. White people change, stop racism, da da da. But then when Trump got elected, I was like, oh, this shit is not changing.
No.
So I was like, okay, and then that's when I found your channel, actually. And, you know, what you were saying, I was like, yo, like, she's with the shits. Like, I agree. So I just went to follow you and watched all of your videos, and I was like, yo, like, I should just focus on being me and being black and doing what I can do for my people, because that's all I can do, you know. And yeah, so that's just what I've been doing, you know.
I think we get caught up a lot in trying to change people's minds, and focusing energy on that. I'm going to, like, change somebody's mind. I'm going to, like, change this. I'm going to change that. And, like, for people that's on that wave, I don't take nothing away from them. If that's, like, what you feel called to do, that's fine.
That's not me.
That's not me either. It's not me either. And I just feel like that's exhausting. It's, like, very exhausting.
And, like, I saw this one thing, and it'd be, like, what I call like the POC Twitter, like the people who are not black, but want to say like everything about everything, social justice, whatever. And they're like, if you're not outraged by this, then you are not paying attention. And I'm just like, I'm tired. Like, I don't want to be outraged, because like between that time, my body was, because that's when I was like really on Tumblr too, you know, like the Tumblr activism and everything. And I was just under so much stress, and I saw the world in such a negative light, like, just, you know, seeing just dead bodies left and right, like, that takes a toll on your psyche. And it's just like, I can't do that anymore. Like, I really can't. I just rather focus on being proactive and doing what I know I can do for
instead
black
of
people.
reactive.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and I think that people underestimate, like, this is gonna sound horrible, but I feel like people underestimate, like, just being black is like enough. Like, just being black is sort of like a lot. It's kind of like, I don't necessarily need to be constantly outraged at every little thing, and
It's
especially not at
tiring.
stuff that doesn't even have to do with black people, because I see like the whole like the POC brigade that like you need to care about this, you need to care about that, and
No,
I be like,
don't.
they're not even black.
Right.
Like, I definitely don't need to care about that, because they're not even black, and I have enough going on. I have enough on my plate as it is, like just being black and like existing.
Like, y'all got it.
Yeah, like y'all, like at a certain point, like I can say like y'all got it. Like you can like hold your own nuts for like a quick 15. Like you got it. You can like look out for yourselves. I definitely think that there's all this expectation. There's just all this expectation. I don't know if it's just because like people think that we can handle it. Like on some, you went through slavery, you can get through anything. Like that, there's just this expectation for us to do everything, to care about everything, to make everything into a thing. Next, like, let's move on. Every single little thing, like, doesn't have to be a thing.
Right.
It can be if you want, whatever. But for everybody, it doesn't have to be, especially because, like, existing is hard. Like, and being black is tough. Like, I mean, it's also great. Like, it's also wonderful. I wouldn't want to be anything else except, like, exactly what I am. And like I love myself, I love where I'm from, like I love my culture, like I love all that stuff, but at the same time it's like I don't have to like take on additional like
why should you?
Yeah,
like it's not doing anything for me. And like 9 times out of 10, what you want me to do, make a tweet? Like, is that gonna satisfy you? Like,
there's a lot of that too with
like
social
what you
media.
want me to do? Like I can't do nothing. No, I'm not.
I gotta give you a link to the Discord. We've been talking about that a lot in the Discord, and just like, okay, what do you want? Like, what do you want?
What you want me to do?
You talking about something you want people to be outraged, but like, right, change your profile picture.
I'm like, that's not gonna do it.
Oh, you didn't. We were talking about how, something we were talking about in the Discord was like grief and like expression of grief, because we were talking about how when Nipsey Hussle died, you had all these people that was hitting up strangers, right? That was hitting up people that knew Nipsey Hussle in real life, like, why haven't you posted? Like, it took like YG like 2 weeks, something like that, to post, and he put a picture up, and he put in his caption like, I haven't like wrote no tears or nothing on here because I've been like crying in real life.
You have to process it within yourself before you can put it out
for people.
Yeah.
There's this expectation of like everything has to be like lived through social media. Everything has to be like lived through the internet, and if you're not doing it through the internet, and if you're not doing it on social media, then it's not happening.
That's sad.
Like, and it is sad. It's like very much like not an understanding of like real life, you know? It's just like, oh, you're not outraged, you're not doing nothing because you didn't post about it. It's like, but you don't know what that person's doing in real life. You don't know what they're doing behind the scenes.
Like, they probably with the family, consoling them.
Yeah.
Like, they're all, like, you have to give people time to grieve. Like,
to grieve.
And, like, what does it matter to you if they didn't post shit? Like,
you don't know neither one of these people.
What does it have to do with you? Like, mind the business that pays you. Like, just chill out. Like, not everything has to be on the internet. Not everything has to be talked about. Not everything has to be openly discussed by people who don't know shit to begin with.
Yeah. I think that has spilled over into quote unquote activism, social justice of, oh, you didn't post about XYZ, so that means you don't care about it. You're not doing anything about it. You don't give a fuck about it. We have to talk about it on the internet, in public. We have to like have this like internet dialogue.
Shit, what if I don't care about it?
What if I don't fucking give a fuck about it? I'm allowed. I think that's something that is gonna have to like
I really don't like. I'm
become a thing.
I'm not sorry, and I don't give a fuck.
And
I
don't
have enough
care
to worry about with me and myself.
Yeah.
Like,
there's a lot of shit that people hit me up about, and I just be like, I'm sorry, but I don't care.
I don't care.
I don't care. They'd be like, can you make a video about this? And I'd be like, no offense, but like I really don't fucking care. Like, I think I don't care. Like, I just don't care. I feel like people have to be like getting emotionally exhausted from like a lot of what they're doing and carrying. Or if they're not getting emotionally exhausted, kudos to them, but it's probably fake. Yeah, if you're not getting emotionally exhausted, then it's probably fake. You're not emotionally invested.
Right.
You just talking.
You just want to.
It's just entertainment.
And people feel pressure because like a friend of mine, like she doesn't really post anything like as far as like activism or anything like that on social media, but I saw her post something about Sudan, and it was like one singular post, and it was like, repost this if you care, like one of those like pressure posts where it's like,
I hate pressure posts.
Yeah, and I'm just like, girl, I know you, like, I know you felt pressure to do that, but you posted it and you don't give a fuck afterwards, like,
yeah.
So was it really?
Was it really real?
Yeah, like, why have me do it? Like, why have me post something if I don't care about it?
It's like to fit in, sort of, I think.
And it's just like, no, it's not necessary.
Yeah. I hate pressure posts.
Yeah.
Anything I see that says, like, repost, you have to repost. If you
don't do this,
if you don't repost, you don't
like,
care. Repost, or you're not feeling the outrage. Repost, or you're part of the problem. I'd be like, scroll.
Right.
Like, guess I'm part of the problem, because I'm not going to repost it just because you try to. You're a stranger on the internet, number one. I'm not going to do it just because a disembodied voice on the internet told me to.
You know what that reminds me of? That one social experiment where it was like the doctor, and it was like one side of the room was the guy like hooked up to like the shocks, and then the other person was like pressing the buttons, and like, do you know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. Like, it's like that, like the sense of authority that people feel like they have.
Yeah, that does not, it does not give you a sense of authority. And also the followers, the follower count, people thinking because they have a certain number of followers that gives them authority. We were just talking about this with Keon, with Kay Freeman in Columbus, Ohio. I was like, it's wild to me that people feel like because they have a certain amount of followers or whatever, it's like, we're still using this platform the exact same way. We use the platform the same way. We make posts the same way. Now, maybe you do have stuff like Instagram where it's like you can't access certain features until you get a certain amount of followers, which I hate. I think it's like really weirdly like classist and like ridiculous. It's like setting up like social tiers, like social hierarchies, because like get a certain number of followers to unlock this.
Right, so you like do the swipe up. I was so mad when I found out I couldn't do that swipe up thing. Yes. I was like, bruh, like, I have things to share though.
It's like, what's the point of making that feature limited to 10,000 followers or more? Literally, what's the point? There's like no purpose of making it limited except to create like a fake ass social hierarchy on Instagram. Like, there's no other purpose for it, really. Literally, there's not. So it's just like, aside from like those certain types of features, like everything else, like we can use the platform the exact same way. And so it's just like people think because they like have a certain number of followers or something, or again they type in caps lock, or they this person, they that person, they have this authority. And it's just like, you don't have no motherfucking authority. Like, who the fuck is you?
Who are you?
Like, who are you?
And like, you could be fake too. Like, you could have a whole different profile picture than who you are. Like, you could not even be you. Like, it's just like, stop.
And you had said something earlier too about like the really bad spam accounts.
Oh yeah.
And I
they
also
be funny,
find that
but they be
like
terrible.
The spam accounts on all the social media. I was reading the other day this really sad story about this little kid, black kid, that like accidentally killed himself because he was young too. He was like 11 or 12. He had like his mom had a gun in the house, like a registered gun, licensed, everything. He found the gun, or he knew where it was, and he like got it out, and he went live on Instagram, and he was like playing with the gun on live, and like shot himself and killed himself. And then like so the mom said that like all these kids came over to the house, and like all the kids that was watching that like knew him in real life, they all came over to the house, and they was like all standing outside, like, and he died, like he was like dead. And she was like, she said that like the hardest part, because she had been trying to like monitor his like internet use and his like social media use, but she was like, the hardest part was that, I would like delete an account and he would make 5 more. She was like, he had so many accounts, and like none of them necessarily had his name or his face. People just be making like
just random accounts
the accounts be anything. So she was like, he had all these accounts, and like all these accounts that he used for like all these different things, and it was just like no way to keep track of it. And like he went on Instagram Live, like playing around with the gun, like trying to look cool. Like, she was like, number one, like guns are not toys, like that's not something you should play around with to look cool. And she was like, and number two, it was just so hard to like keep track of like what he was doing, because like he would just make another account, make another account, make another account. And these spam and troll accounts, they just say anything and like do anything. They say and do anything. Like,
and it's really taught me to not take shit at face value either.
Right. That could be like an 11-year-old kid.
Yeah, because at first
bored.
I'd be like, yo, what did you just say? But they would just be posting shit just to post, just outlandish, like just thinking of the most outlandish thing they could say and just saying it because
I started to report somebody the other day. They had like left some horrible comment not on my page, on somebody else's page. I just so happened to see it, and I was like, because I be replying sometimes to people, and I just be like, this is horrible. I'm gonna report this. And the dude wrote me back, and he was like, no. He was like, no, Seren, don't report me. I love your videos. Like, I love what you say about Black empowerment. I was just like, motherfucker, what? What? Like, I was just like, Black, this is too weird.
Yeah, it gets so weird.
This is too weird.
It gets weird, and I just like, that's why I had that 15-minute timer. I'm like, I need to be looking from the outside, kind of. Like, I really do not need to be in the thick of it because
it's weird.
I can't take it.
Yeah,
I can't take it.
It's weird. It's a weird fucking space because it's like on the one point you don't think of troll accounts and spam accounts as real people, but on the other side, I mean, unless it's like a literal bot, like it is a person. Even if they have like 100 fake accounts, like it is a person, and that's like a really weird space to sort of navigate. And I also think that like the anonymity is like weird, and I think that's like having an impact on people's brains in terms of like the creation of like the mob mentality, and like also giving people like more leeway to like say whatever. Like, for example, the kid that killed himself with a gun, how he killed himself was the gun didn't have any bullets in it. He was like playing around with the gun, but the gun didn't have any bullets in it. Somebody, anonymous random person on the internet that was watching the live was like, the gun don't have any bullets in it, like you're not doing, you're not doing,
put some bullets in it,
right?
Real, like,
exactly, like you're not doing nothing, like put some bullets in it. And so he had like went and got some bullets and like put the bullets in it, and that's when he was like loading it and was like playing around with it, he like accidentally like shot himself.
Yeah, that's tragic.
That's tragic. And just like
a child who does not get to grow up, who had hopes and dreams, like that's
little black kid that will never grow up. And I felt so horrible reading the article. And I just like felt so bad for his mom, because she even said, she was like, I tried, like I was trying to like cut, like crack down on his use. And it was just like every day, like 5 more accounts, new accounts, like following all these like celebrities and all these like social media people and like influencers, and like wanting to be down, like wanting to feel like he was a part of something. Little kid. Like, we're not even talking about a teenager. Like, I'm pretty sure he was like 11 or 12, like a child.
That's still elementary school or 6th grade.
Yeah.
Like, that's a little kid.
Like a little kid. It scares me. Like, I don't have kids. I don't feel like I always say this. And for a long time, I was weird about having kids because I already felt like the world is like fucked up. Yeah. It's like too much. And like, is it like even fair to like bring like a black child into this world? Is that fair? They'll have to deal with a lot of shit solely because like I make the decision.
Right.
But then I kind of got over that. I decided that like, you know, I think it's like cool to think of kids as like hope for the future. I think that's like nice. But then it's like, once you decide you're okay with it, you have to consider like, oh my God, like social media. Like, because when I was younger, when I was a little kid, that age, 11, social media was not a thing. Like, the social media came and it came so fast.
Right.
And it like impacted stuff like so quickly that I feel like as an adult and as a parent, I wouldn't even really have a frame of reference.
Right.
For, like, I would have my adult frame of reference, my teen, because like, I started getting into like internet, social media stuff when I was a teenager. So it's like I have like my teenager, my adult frame of reference, but the ways that a 11-year-old navigates Instagram, I don't know. I don't know. Like, it's mind-boggling to me.
And like, I have little cousins who are like, my little cousin, I don't even think she's 2 yet, and she got her little phone. Like, she be on iPad swiping.
Yeah, I've seen like I've seen 2-year-olds be with them iPads, boy. They be.
I'm just like, yo, and like me, like I said, my parents were a little older, so they was a little slow on like the technology.
Uptake.
Yeah, so I wasn't allowed to get a smartphone until I could pay for it. So I was 16 when I got my first smartphone, and then I think right when like the iPod Touch came out, I got that for my birthday, like on my 10th birthday or something like that. But that didn't have internet because we didn't have Wi-Fi in the house.
Right.
So like, I would feel some type of way of my child growing up with that stuff. Like, it would, and it's so hard to like try to keep them away.
Right. It's
because
hard.
They have friends, they have
Oh, my mama will let me have an account, make an account for me.
Exactly.
So I could use it from your phone when we at school.
Exactly.
It's as easy as that.
Exactly. So it's like, I want to like try to keep you away from it, like I kind of was, but at the same time, how can I? If it's everywhere, it's only going to get bigger as time goes on. Because it had, 20 years maybe, social media and like the internet, 20, 30 years?
What, now?
Yeah.
10.
10?
10. It hasn't even been that long.
Yeah, so, because I remember I was too young for Facebook.
Facebook was started in 2005. So Facebook is like 14, and that's like one of the oldest ones that's still around. Instagram, I think, was like 2007 or 8, so like 12, 11 years. And then you had Snapchat, which isn't even like 10 years old yet.
Yeah.
YouTube has been around for a while, so like YouTube is maybe 15. YouTube maybe like 15 years, but like none of them have gotten to 20. No, 20. None of them.
How old is Google? Like 20-ish? 19?
Alphabet?
Because there was like Ask Jeeves.
Yeah, first. All this stuff is like, that's why I said like it came very fast.
Yeah, and it's like
and took over, and I think that people really are not aware. I kind of think of it as like playing with fire in a way. It's like people are not aware really, just because
of the repercussions.
There hasn't been enough time
to look back,
and there hasn't been enough research. Like people are kind of just now researching and getting into like the screens are making fucking motherfuckers depressed and like
and shit, neck problems too.
Yeah, like, carpal tunnel, and like we're just now sort of getting to that because like the iPhone came out in 2007, so like it's only been 12 years that the iPhone's even been out, and so all these apps and like social media, if it wasn't like on the computer, but like the apps and the social media, most of it is like younger than 12 years. Yeah. But yet it has like shaped everything really. Like it shaped everything. I remember when I was like younger, we were just talking about this too, when I was like younger and there was like no GPS. And so you had to like go on MapQuest and like write out the directions or like print it out. And I remember like my mom used to like do that. And like when I first started driving when I was a teenager, I used to have to like do that. God forbid if you got lost, because you was in trouble. You had to like try to go back to like the last street you recognized, like retrace your steps. So, and now you have like Waze and Apple Maps and Google Maps, but like all these things are like still so new, and we're like still really filling out the repercussions. And again, for us as Black people, like I always have to like say Black because I feel like everything has like an invisible like white in front of it. So even for us, I feel like it's even more so like impactful because like we just sit in a different place in society, you know, and like systemically, and since we're such like a huge driving force of culture is like what makes these social media like websites like go. Like that's what makes like the gears turn, and like the memes and the hashtags and the what's trending and the Black Twitter and the this and the that, you know, like our culture and like our contributions are what make all that stuff go. But at the same time, like nobody is really studying. I'm not gonna say nobody because I'm sure there's people that's like getting into it, like researchers and stuff, but like it just hasn't been long enough, and like people are just now sort of starting to study and realize the effects of it on like mass society. And so I do wonder like what is that even going to be, even like on a more so micro level for us, like for Black Americans, as people that are like, social media too is almost like a direct like an IV line like into us, the heart of us and our culture. You could look at Lil Nas X, like he made his like he would make his like meme songs, and like one of them caught on and hit and blew up, but then like the mainstream like wasn't trying to give him his country record, and they like wasn't trying to like give him his props, and then like the mainstream white artists had to get on the song for him to get it. But like meanwhile, like those memes and like those meme songs and like those dances that are like now in Fortnite, like stuff that was created by like Blackboy JB and like Millie Rock and all that stuff, like that stuff was driving the social media culture and like the mass media culture, and has been for so long. Like how is that going to affect us in the long term? It's something that I do think a lot about. And like if I have a kid, that's going to be like, I'm going to be like, no phone, no internet, no computer, no memes, You better
I was
go
thinking about
flip
that, like
phone,
giving you like
flip
a
phone.
basic ass phone
Yes.
for like
Nokia
your
brick
younger. So if
phone.
you want to call me, you need help.
Yes.
I got you, but
you better
don't
find
need
you a
to
payphone.
be.
I'm gonna give you some change and a map. Find
Right.
a payphone.
Make it work.
Make it work. Scavenger hunt that bitch. I don't know what to tell you because you're not getting no phone, and I
Right.
better not see no nothing on Instagram, nothing like. And I'm gonna be like, I'm internet savvy. I'll be all over
Right.
the internet. I will find you. Like, but it's hard. It's like a weird space, and it's still like in the grand scheme of things in terms of time and like society and like generations, this stuff is like very new, you know, and the fact that it's impacting young black kids like so hard, like even you, like you're 19, so that means that like when Ferguson happened you were like 14.
Just
right?
started freshman year.
Yeah, which is like intense. That's intense to me. Like I have like young kids that watch me on YouTube. Like my average viewer on YouTube is like 13 to 21 or something like that. Like I have so many young kids that hit me up that be like, oh my gosh, like I started watching your stuff when I was like a freshman in high school, and like now I'm going off to college, and like I want to thank you because I feel like I'm more prepared to be like, you know, like black and like a black American in like a school environment. And like on the one hand, like I'm happy that they found me and that they were able to like have that, but on the other hand, it's like scary a little bit.
That you can have such an impact.
Yes, like such an impact, and on kids that are so young, and all sort of through the internet and through the social media, like reach. It's like really reaching. And again, they say that like black Americans are like the number one demographic that like uses the internet and like uses social media, and like we're like literally the number one demo that like uses all those things, which is funny too, because then when you start talking about like, oh well, they market everything towards white people because like it's good business, but I'd be like, niggas use the most of everything. Like we watch the most TV, we use the most internet, we use the most social media, we buy the most goods. Like we consume a lot, we create a lot, and we consume a lot. So it's very just it's wild to me, like the impact and like what is that going to be in like a few, because you were still even like a little bit older, but because you just made Gen Z, like you just barely made it.
Yeah.
But like the ones that are like even younger than you are, I'm very curious to see how that's going to play out. But I also do love Gen Z. I feel like Gen Z is like super smart, super engaged. Gen Z kind of has this bad rep as being like the meme generation.
The Tide Pod eaters.
Yeah, the Tide Pod eaters.
Well, we smart too.
Like the dumbasses.
Right.
So, but I think y'all are smart. I think y'all are smart. Y'all are like really, you're just plugged in.
Yeah.
You're plugged in a lot more. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes as you guys get a little bit older.
Yeah.
That's nice. I think that's good. How long was that?